Guys, never open up about your emotions to women. They're not equipped to handle masculine problems. I'm telling you. If you go and cry to a girl...
I mean, you don't have a big dick. That's the point. You don't have a big dick. You don't have a big wallet.
I am a nurse.
A nurse?
Yes.
Beta! Beta male. Beta. Not an alpha male. Beta male. Yes. Beta male.
This was sparked because I felt like there was a lot of male gurus telling guys what women want, but there's not a lot of like interviewing of like girls to say what they really are looking for. Can you guys see this? I'll read it. I
see an open window.
Okay, I'll read it out. So this is actually like a dating bio from one of these like gurus out there. I'm not gonna say who, but I'm just gonna like read it, and then I'm gonna get your pros and cons and what you guys think. Like, are you sliding in this guy's DMs? Like, you know, tell me what's going on. Okay, so about me, I'm just here to find a brunette side chick to compliment my blonde trophy wife that is pregnant with our mulatto baby. And then he's like, okay, just kidding. Okay, social media influencer and content creator. I run a popular podcast in Miami. I bet a vodka soda you can't guess my ethnic background in 2 tries. I own a high-ticket coaching business, and I'm realizing the Notorious B.I.G.'s song, Mo Money, Mo Problems, is disappointingly true. I'm hoping you don't add to that disappointment. I live in Miami, Brickell, Florida. Not to sound cocky, but here are some numbers. Only 4% of the male population is over 6'2". Less than 3% of males make over $300,000 a year. Only, I don't know, I think that's 3% of men are in shape with abs. You lucked out. I have all 3 in one package. So yeah, I'm a picky person for a reason. Beauty in women is common, but high-value men are not. Be prepared to compete. Okay, that's the first half. What do you guys think?
Does not sound like high value to me when all he's listed is just his financial accomplishments. That's so turn-offy. I'm just going to say it right now.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
I don't even know about your personality. Like, what's your personality even? Like, your personality is your numbers, and that is not attractive.
His personality was in the first joke.
I know. His personality so far is his money, and, you know, I feel like the fact that he's just, it's offensive, to be honest.
Yeah, it was kind of offensive.
I feel like I know who it is.
I mean, if you guess it, I will tell you. If you guess it, I'll tell you.
Is this that the part about women, beauty in women being common, but high value men are not, sounds really familiar to me, but I don't remember who it is. Is it? It's not Kevin Samuels, is it?
No, this isn't Kevin Samuels.
This sounds really familiar to me.
Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah. Who is this?
Okay. This is Myron Gainnes.
But we can cancel him.
It's Myron. Okay.
Myron
yeah.
Gainnes.
Yeah. Oh, Miami. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's
Fresh and Fit podcast. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's who I was thinking of.
Okay.
Oh, and mulatto baby. That makes sense then. Yeah.
Do you want to hear the rest?
Sure.
Oh, there's
so
more?
that I can cancel him.
There's another half.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
I'll read some of it. Requirements. No offense, but my inbox is flooded and it's overwhelming. No out-of-state women or foreign women unless you intend to do a FaceTime call and meet my requirements. I get too many messages from out-of-state women. There's plenty of hot girls in Miami, so I don't need to import sand to the beach. Please convince me as to why I should pick you. I don't take on any girl. I'm looking for a female partner I can trust and make love with to help me build my empire. If you think you got what it takes, shoot me a message, and I can see if you're a good fit. No transaction type women, That's like prostitutes, I think. If your bio is spoil me
Sounds
because
like he wants the crust.
Yeah.
It sounds like he wants the prostitute. Like,
Like, fill the position.
if your bio is spoil me because I'm a princess, there are plenty of men on Seeking that are perfect for you. Otherwise, I'm tired of beta males. I'm your Christian Grey. You'll never have to plan a date, pay, or get asked where do you want to eat, drink, hang out. Just dress cute for me and I'll handle the rest. This comes at a cost. I'm picky. Shoot your shot, ladies. Tell me what separates you from the pack. Please share your locked photos. It makes things smoother for both of us. I will not respond unless you have a photo that shows your body and face.
That is a hard no. I could go on for hours why that's a no.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
That sounds like something I would find on like Cringetopia Reddit. Like on the subreddit Cringetopia or
Yeah,
like
it's like a catfish or like some sort of joker just having fun and trolling.
please tell me this is satire. Like
Exactly.
I am only saying no because I know who Myron is and I'm familiar with his content. I don't enjoy him as a human being.
I don't
But
enjoy
that's
him
just
as
me.
a human being now either. Just from that, like
No.
no.
No, I think this guy wants a puppy. I don't think he wants a human being.
In the same sentence, he says that he doesn't want a girl who wants a sugar daddy. He then says that he could be your sugar daddy. So
Exactly.
you sound
Facts.
like
This whole
you're ordering a
contradiction.
hooker,
Facts.
but you then say you don't want a hooker.
Yeah, well,
I'm
you know,
still
so this is that was the point where I was like, you know what, maybe we need to hear from women on this shit too, because like guys are buying into this 100%.
I
There
feel
are-
like he's very lonely. That just strips of loneliness to me because he feels like the only thing he can use to impress women is his money.
Yeah.
And like also he's just like, I call the shots. You don't need to call any of the shots. So he's just looking for a physical body to warm his bed at night. That's because he's lonely and he knows he's not
He's
worthy
picky,
of
so
something
only in the
more.
preferred positions he wants.
Yeah.
I can also tell you that Myron has a type of woman that he likes from what I've seen. And like, he's got a podcast. They have girls on all the time. I don't think anyone in here is his type of woman. We'll just put it that way. And I mean that in a good way.
That's good. That's great to hear.
So it doesn't really surprise me that we're all like, no, thank you. He's very much like projecting like the overconfident, like stereotype, like douchey. Sorry if we can't say
It sounds like a
No.
predator.
I said it. He's saying that's the stereotype like he's projecting. And like I think one of the problems personally, I actually agree with Manosphere on a lot, which the host is aware of. But
yeah.
One of my critiques is I think there is a difference personally between, I don't know how to say this without coming off as like a screeching woman that like disagrees with everything they say. I think there's a difference between like what Myron does and like actually projecting strength in someone that you can depend on. Because I think there's a very delicate balance between like, I mean, I don't know. A lot of people have called my husband an asshole, but I love him. So like, I'm not saying I don't like that stereotype, like, but because there are women that like, it depends on what they're like that about, right? Like there's certain things that you want a man to be like, no, that's not okay. And I'm not going to be quiet or shut up. And I'm going to tell you that I don't like that. That's admirable depending on what your views are on certain things.
Mhm.
But I just saw the type of women that Myron is into. That's just, it doesn't surprise me that that none of us are enjoying his bio. We'll just put it that way.
Come on, give us some characteristics. What are the type? What are they? What do they like?
To like put it in a way that like is, I don't know, like kosher and not like super offensive, I'll just say like bimbo. Not, and don't get me wrong, I am not
And
saying,
that's the sugar-coated way of saying
I
it.
am
So
not saying
Why
that
she
you
used that
cannot,
as a sugar-coated word.
I'm not saying that you can't be like super sexy and attractive and like exude that and like dress sexy and not be intelligent, but that's not what he's looking for.
Well, there's a fine line between strength and then using your strength and position to come off as like somebody who's, I want to say, use the word predator again. I'm sorry.
Well, it just seems like it's almost like coercive. You know what I mean?
Coercive, yeah.
It's not like, to me, if you actually exude true strength, you shouldn't have to have a bio like that, because a woman's going to look at you. She's going to see how you dress, the confidence that you bring. And there are men like that in the manosphere that I look at and I'm like, yeah, that's an attractive dude. You can tell he knows what he wants. That's okay. But you shouldn't have to say that. If you have to say that, I'm a little suspicious. Like you shouldn't, it's like the communication thing. I think the communication thing, like, oh, just communicate. No, if you're the type of person that I am into, that I want you, you won't have to communicate it. I'll look at you and I'll be like, it's like a switch. You're like, yes, you have what I want. I don't know what it is, but you have it. I think that's the same way for men and women too. Like, and then maybe you get to talking and they have like a red flag and you're like, oh, maybe you're not for me.
Yeah.
But at least at first glance, if you see a dude, you're gonna already think in your mind, oh, I bet he's really stable and like he's got his finances together. You're gonna look at someone and say that. You're not gonna look at their bio and be like, well, he said he has lots of money and he'll take care of me, so I believe he will. I'm a little suspicious, are you? Can you?
Yeah.
You
Like,
didn't have to tell me that you're gonna do that. Just do it.
like that bio just now, although I'm sure he's very successful, right? Like, yeah, okay, I trust that you're successful, but that doesn't mean shit to me because that's all of that is just small dick energy talking. Like,
What energy?
a small dick energy.
Small dick. Wow. Okay.
She just went for it.
She went
wow.
Love you. Thank you.
I think coming from like a content creator perspective, I think he's letting his platform do too much work for him. Like, I think he's hiding behind that, quite honestly. Like, I don't know him personally, right? But I feel like he's actually really insecure and he's just using that to like put this kind of blockade between him and, you know, his audience. And honestly, like you can see that with the numbers. Like you can like tell that this guy really likes to compare himself, and that's really like that's a red flag. That is a red flag.
If he likes to compare himself, he's gonna want to compare you with other people.
Like, I don't mean this in a bad way, because I think women are a lot, like with the deck of cards analogy earlier, I think women are a lot more likely to like compare their partner to other people. But, you know, if you really desire your partner, you're going to look at other people and go, oh yeah, I got the best one, right? But I think when men do that, it just kind of comes off as like, I don't mean this in a bad way, so no one take this a bad way, but it does come off as like a male having female energy. Like, oh, well, there might be better than you. So it's like the whole like settling thing. Like, it's like, why is a dude worrying he's settling? If he's a worthy guy, he should know he's got the best girl, right? So when you're comparing your numbers on social media and all this, like, it just seems like really, it just seems kind of wimpy to me. Like, first of all, a woman, like, if you're so proud of your social media and you're that famous, a girl's going to know. She's going to see pictures of you and she's going to be like, oh, that's that guy from that YouTube channel that has all those girls on. Oh, okay. He's got some influence. And so I can go on his YouTube and like kind of clout chase and things like that. Like, they're already going to know. So it just comes off as very strange that he would do that.
I don't think it's bad to compare per se, because like at the end of the day, you kind of strengthen your resolve and commitment in the relationship at the end.
Yeah.
But at the end of like, it's also what you're comparing, right? You shouldn't be comparing how much money someone has. Like, if anything, you should be comparing like how big this person's heart is, or like his how kind he is to the people around him. I know that sounds a little cliche, but it's more like just in general, how good a person is. You know, that's what you should be comparing in any case, not these superficial values that really don't mean much at the end of the day, especially not in a relationship. Like, you can have $1 million and be a shit partner.
Yeah. It's like being OCD. You just don't want it to be judgmental.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I got one.
And like, you're comparing the abstract. Like, you're not comparing figures, you know, you're comparing something that can be seen. Yeah. And like, that's where the value lies, I think.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, Farah.
Okay, so I'll say this, okay? Like, I think that some toxic stuff does come out of the manosphere, but I also think that the manosphere is 100% necessary, especially because more and more, like, if guys talk about stuff honestly and openly, they'll get canceled. So there needs to be platforms where guys can be honest and open, even if it's not PC. So like, I'm just putting that out there. Like, there's a lot of good that comes out of it as well. So I just
kind of like when you got crucified on Facebook on that.
Oh no, what happened?
Why'd you gotta go there?
What happened?
Okay.
Tell the story.
Okay, so there's this group on Facebook called like Pals Helping Zone. And from what I gather, it's a group where people go to get help, right? So I'm like, okay, I want to do this podcast. So I go on there and I'm like, hey, me and my friend want to do this thing. Are there any females that are interested in talking about what women want and that kind of stuff? We're not male gurus. We're just regular guys, blah, 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 blah. So like immediately people just were like, ew, how could you use the word female?
So it's a platform that's based central Toronto, which is very, and pardon me if I get it wrong, LGBTQ and everybody else oriented too. So you have to be very PC in how you talk. So
Yeah.
he got crucified in the fact that he was trying to talk about wanting somebody to talk on, I'm going to say, a heteronormacy kind of relationships.
Yeah.
And well, what about us? What about us? What about, he just like, why are you using the word female too many times? I think there was
I used it twice.
To be fair, there are a lot of, I don't know why, this is so weird to me. Even when I was on Twitter, there's like a group of even like hetero, like straight women who get really mad at the word female. And I'm like, what? That's what I am. Like,
Yeah.
And I get sometimes people say it and like females be like, but they also say women be like, and no one gets mad at the word where we can't say any gendered language anymore at all. Then it's weird. But I'm not surprised though. And it probably was also that you wanted to talk about what women want in men, because who cares about what men want, right? That's like the big thing.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds, or what do women want in other women? What do women want in? He just got annihilated, poor guy. And I'm reading all these comments, and to be honest, I had like just woken up and smoking a joint. I'm laughing my ass off on how they're just poor guy, and I'm just like,
You know what? I got no issue getting dragged through the mud. I got no issue. But when they went and banned me,
they banned you from the group?
They banned me from the group.
I was wondering why.
Someone was like, yo, get the misogynist out of here. And all because I used the word female.
Yeah, a misogynist would want to sit down with, 4 or 5 other women for, an hour and a half and speak to them, obviously.
And extended the time even.
Clearly, you're a misogynist.
Yes, clearly.
It's okay. I'm misogynist too. So that's been said about me. Now figure that one out.
Yo, it's a crazy world. Like, I got canceled, man. And I'm just, I don't know.
I think it's so important though. I don't think, how to say this, that manosphere that you were talking about?
Yeah.
What is it actually referring to? Like, educate me. What is this thing?
There is the manosphere.
Okay.
What is the manosphere?
Where is it? Oh no, you're about to tell them about it.
Okay, Mac probably actually knows more than me, to be honest. But like, it's
Because I have a handyman walking around in the background.
Oh, it's all good.
I saw. I was like,
Handy person.
Handy person. Yo, be careful, okay? Be careful. We don't like to be called our gender. But yeah, I guess it's kind of like it's guys who are talking about how guys can be successful in the world, and they're doing it in like a probably non-politically correct way, where it's like just straight facts about the world that as they see it. So they're not going to try to sugarcoat it. They're going to be like, yo, men and women are different. Like, they have no problem saying stuff like that. And like what women look
not
for.
Not just men and women. Everybody's different.
Yeah. Mac, did I get it? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, and I've talked about, so I was like mutuals on Twitter with like some of the guys in this sphere, which is probably why I got called a misogynist, to be honest with you. But you're following this person? It's like, I can follow people I don't agree with on everything, guys. It's a crazy concept, I know. I honestly think manospheres, I hate the term. I think
it's kind of cheese.
It was kind of bestowed upon them, to be fair, though. It was kind of originally like a dig, like, ooh, it's just these men in their little bubble. It's the manosphere. And they just like, were like, whatever, fine, we're the manosphere.
Leaned into it, yeah.
Right, sure. Which like, good for them, whatever. it's kind of like, they also like are referred to as like the red pill sphere. So like, it's just basically guys who are challenging convention when it comes to like relationships. So like the concept of like the soulmate and like all these like very emotionalized terms. And like, for example, I think one of the best examples of like things that they say that people get outraged by, where I'm a little confused, but then also I kind of get why there was outrage, because you're not allowed to talk about those kind of things. One of the guys, and several of them have done it, there was a trend on Twitter for a while where they would say, what I want in a woman, which, as we've talked about this whole time, women have a list. A lot of women have a list, but they had a list, and oh boy, women did not like the list. It was literally like, is nurturing, is thin, takes care of herself, can cook, has long, beautiful hair. Like, literally, I'm not even exaggerating, though. That is like exactly what
I'm like the ideal girl for him.
There you go.
There you go.
Like, what is wrong with this? Like,
Jolie.
I think it's perfectly fine.
people were enraged. They were like, "You want someone who can cook? What are you, a child?" I'm like, "What's wrong with being able to
I
know how to
want someone who
cook?"
can cook. What
Right,
is
like,
this?
what is wrong with it? And it's not that he doesn't know how to cook. Maybe he just likes to have breakfast made for him sometimes. I like to have breakfast made for me sometimes. Like, it was so
It's actually
outrageous.
so sad. It's so sad how like a lot of men, when they express themselves, it's shut down so quickly. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like, of course, intention is very important, and you're just going to be like throwing out these things, and it's very hate driven,
Like, if
and of
you're
course that's
trolling about
wrong.
it,
Yeah, but then if you're like actually just genuinely talking about your feelings and your thoughts, a lot of the times I feel like people attack them, especially on the internet, because they're just going to find fault with someone using the word female, for example.
Right.
And I think it's really like, that's online culture though. It's just
Yeah.
online is just everybody's severe in the worst ways. But then in real life though, like I think that a lot of men still it's not totally encouraged, at least by society, for them to express themselves emotionally or through their thoughts, because they're so scared of just being challenged and canceled for them, you know what I'm saying, for their thoughts. So it's just like, because I said, I have two brothers myself, and I feel like sometimes even for them, emotionally speaking, they find it difficult to communicate even with their own family in a very safe environment what the negativity they're feeling. So it's hard for men as well in some senses. It's just that that's why it's just like, how should I say this? I think it's totally fine for men to say things, and like even some things that are difficult to talk about, but just like you need to show your train of thought that led you to certain assumptions, because sometimes there are misunderstandings along the way that we can talk about and we can get over them, right? But if you just outright come to a conclusion and it's not the most politically correct conclusion, you're misunderstood. So show your train of thought and what led you to that conclusion, and I think everybody is safe, you know?
Well, that's kind of why, like, the manosphere, that's kind of a big reason why those guys got together, is because it was just supposed to be a space where they could talk about how to like date, how to approach a woman and not be come off as an awkward weirdo, like things that I think women take for granted. Because like, if I walk up to a dude and I hit on him, 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to walk away and they're not going to snicker and call me a weirdo. They're going to be like, oh, she wasn't hot, but whatever, right? Oh, she wasn't my type. But they're not going to like openly make fun of me and then go make a Facebook post about what a weirdo I am and like all that kind of stuff. Guys legitimately actually do have to worry about that kind of thing. And so that's
why we shouldn't have the sleazy men teaching these poor men.
Well, yeah, but the
that's so
sleazy
true.
ones are the ones who know how to do it correctly. So
They're
that's
just loudest. That's what it is, right?
That's
Like,
what you have. But
totally to your point, Mac, like even for something as simple as a compliment, like when a guy gets a compliment, they're just so happy. Like, Sharif, you're a good looking guy, you know? But then like when a girl gets a compliment, like sometimes they just say a guy just compliments you, a stranger guy just compliments you, your guard is up right away. Like,
you're like,
you?
whoa, are you
Why are
following
you
me to
being
my
a creep?
car later?
Like,
What are you
yeah,
doing?
like if some guy like walks by and compliments on my abs, which I don't have, but it will be like, oh, you're looking at my body, whatever. But then like But if
I
a
think
girl
we can also
compliments a
sense
guy,
the difference between a genuine compliment and a catcall, and like just, you walked by, hey, nice ass,
Mhm.
versus,
Mhm.
oh, wow, you have beautiful eyes. Like something a little more genuine.
I don't know. If somebody says I have a nice ass, I'm gonna be like, I do? Thank you, because I don't have one. So if someone says that to me, I'm like, yeah, I'll come home to my husband and be like, that guy said I had an ass too. He's like the second person that thinks I do besides you. That's awesome.
All right.
Match today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping not to
I've seen
continue this pattern.
Yeah.
Very, very bad men.
Hey.
Oh.
Okay, would you guys date this? Like everyone's like, hell yeah.
Oh no. It's giving me anxiety.
Would anyone not date me?
She looks so offended, but that's everyday life.
Did he
for
just
guys.
I love to
away?
dance, so I don't like
Yeah,
it
two
when
people.
I'm with somebody who's
I think
a
they're
total
supposed to
Debbie
do that.
Downer
though.
or
I think
boring.
they're supposed to just go leave
Yeah.
when she puts standards out. If they don't fit it, they just leave. So if they're not being
okay.
rude,
I thought they were just like, ew, and they just got up and walked away. I'm like, oh,
You did ask if you wanted to.
Well-
that's the rules of the game.
Yo, facts. She only asked, "Would you date this?" Like all they know is what she looks like. You know what I mean? So.
I mean,
That's true.
that's. I mean, girls do that too. So.
Oh, guys get torn apart like all the time.
I hate being a pen pal. My first thing is let's go for coffee and see if you're not a catfish and that you're a person that I'm talking to.
Smart.
This terrifies me.
Okay, let's go.
Kind of stands there and doesn't want to dance.
I like to party. I drink a lot.
He really just said I'm black, it's in my blood. I can't.
What did you say?
Well, she said I like to drink a lot, and Joseph said I'm black, it's in my blood. Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
But maybe it's kind of like if you tell me I like to eat rice and I'm like I'm Chinese, it's in my blood.
Oh yeah, I get what he means.
I
I'm
mean-
just shocked. I'm just shocked they put something like that. That can make some people kind of angry.
I feel like this has to be Generation X. This is just.
Yeah, this is going past me.
It gets better. But so right now she's like, if you don't dance, go elsewhere. Why does she look so hurt?
Because she really liked that one.
Everything.
She was looking at that one, and now she's like,
He was
oh.
cute.
Because girls in the dating scene receive less rejection than men, so that's why she's not used to this. People walking out of the circle.
Yeah, probably especially in
Yeah.
person.
Yeah, it's different when it's in person.
Yeah, they usually probably come to her instead of like getting up if they're not interested too, like in public, like at like a party or something.
Am I also the only one who feels like they should just be talking? Like, why are they texting?
It's giving me, my palms are sweating. Like this is giving me anxiety. Like just
No, I think it's because like if you talk, it's hard to facilitate one girl versus 5 guys. I mean, versus 20 guys. Like I can't talk to 20 people at once. Like no matter how
I guess
fast
that's
I talk.
fair.
Yeah, so I would have liked it if they would like once there's like 4 people, maybe they can talk. But then only the loudest get heard. So
Oh God, I want to see where this goes.
okay, wait.
I would definitely want someone open-minded but not a freak. So you shouldn't be into feet, but a little chopping's a little fun. Well,
Everybody got really quiet.
if you're not open to choking.
Oh no. Oh no.
It's the most awkward thing ever.
This is so awkward.
The side, not the
I
side.
do like them tall because I'm pretty tall for an Asian
Oh my
girl.
god, this is the
And
best
when
round.
I put on my
Because
heels, I
everybody
would
fucking
like to
weird.
still be
Oh
shorter
shit, I
than
just
my
spoiled it.
man.
Sorry,
So
guys.
they need to be, I think, at least 5'11", but I prefer like 6 feet tall.
What a tall personality. I like that guy already.
Oh no. She about to Thanos us, he said.
That's the best comment. The best.
She's about to Thanos us.
That was a stricken.
Oh, I think it's not that they don't fit. It's probably because they're turned off by the fact that she has that. But then does she specify how tall she wants them?
She's 5'6".
Yeah,
said-
she
I
wants
think
to be
she
taller
said
than her.
6'1", right?
So it could also be that like she's too tall for them too, I guess, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that might be true.
Oh shit.
I would not want to be with somebody who wants kids within 7 years.
7 years. Oh my god.
I love kids. I've been an aunt since I was 10, so I'm like a natural around babies and kids. But I want to really just share a love with somebody that's so great, and it's all about loving each other before we can, you know, bring somebody else in the world. I think you should be mentally stable as well, financially stable, because you're going to be responsible for shaping their future. It's kind of a big pressure because you could really fuck somebody up in the head if you're not.
How old is she? Do we know?
Yeah, that's what yeah.
She's 26.
And she 7 years? Girl, good luck.
There, and I take that really
33.
seriously.
Wait, she's 26 and she's like, I need to mature?
Yeah, 26, and she needs
Okay,
at
I
least
guess.
7 years to like.
I'm Mac. He's married. You're more mature than me for sure. I'm 25. I kind of feel that. Like
When it comes to childbirth, if you're over 35, you're considered a senior.
Yeah.
That's a study from 1800s. Okay, girl, you don't worry about that. Okay, you have as many children as you want.
Right?
Okay. Oh, I guess those guys want kids earlier.
Did they all leave? Oh, I thought they all
You
left.
know what? I have a younger brother,
That'd be so
and
fun.
anybody younger than me, I just automatically think of my brother, so. Like, they could be the hottest person in the room, and if they tell me they're even a month younger than me, I'm just like, oh, I just see my brother, and it's like, oh,
Hey,
I
she's
would
weird.
not date my brother.
I kind of get that, to be honest. My brother is younger. Well, my husband's only 28 days older than me, but we're the
But
same
like as a
age.
hard requirement though, like as a hard
I
requirement.
feel like
to
a
date
year or two younger would be okay, though.
Yeah.
Right?
But I don't know. My
Like-
brother, I'm 27, my brother's 26, so I might still be like,
Oh, look at
find
that
it weird
guy,
that
the
she put
Raphael
her
guy is
brother-
trying so hard. He's just like 20, but my friend say I'm 25.
oh no.
They're all younger.
Oh my god.
Okay, 2 more seconds.
Oh god.
It's funny because she's assuming that
Her face.
everybody is faulty for being younger than her, but has she ever thought that she might be too old for them? Like it's a two-way
Right.
street, girl.
Yeah.
That
Well, and
was-
I feel like they're 25, like you're 26, like that's not. And would you even know, like if I would have liked to see her guess how old each of the guys left was. Because like
Yeah,
I
that would've been
guarantee you,
interesting.
like you
I
don't.
mean, she looks like 22, to be
Yeah,
honest.
she looks
Yeah.
younger.
We'll have a
too.
conversation with them because the way they act and the age they are have nothing to do with each other.
Yeah, it's
like-
Oh
that's
my
weird.
gosh, I feel like so much is based on age. And I think it's different, like for everyone. Everyone varies from one another. Like despite age, you know, you could find two 20-year-olds that are just in different arenas mentally. You just have to have a talk with them to know that.
Yeah.
I just found it funny when she was like, they need to be into choking. Like that's what's gonna keep a marriage together, or like, I don't know. Maybe
I
I'm.
think it's.
She knows what she wants.
I think for.
She wants.
But
I think she's
for,
just looking for a
like-
good gangbang.
Maybe.
I mean, maybe.
It
It do kind of seem like that though. You need to be older. You need to choke me. Like, I'm sensing a pattern here.
All right. Okay. So I mean, where do we begin? So how about what do you imagine your ideal guy to be? Okay. So this is what we're gonna do. We'll start with like the fantasy, and then we'll work into like first date, second date, like reality type shit. Okay. Who wants to begin?
I can go.
Yeah.
I have a list. I have a list.
You got a list?
Okay, so to sum it up in a sentence, I think I want the male version of me, right? Like I would prefer someone to be so funny, someone to make me just laugh till my guts spill out of me, right? And I don't know, like people do take into account looks quite often, but I feel like looks at most, I think it's like half of the game, like 50%. But like if the personality isn't there, like I'm not even talking to you. Like I'm sorry. You know, it's just not gonna happen. Cause like you can look pretty, but like that's gonna go with time.
Yeah. So they gotta be funny.
I would go on a date with the male version of you.
Oh my god, thank you. Don't make me become a man, because I will.
You guys are
I think like it's interesting that Farah says that she would like to her ideal partner would be someone who's the same as her. Because for me, I'd like someone who is the kind of the opposite actually, because I know I tend to be very high energy. So if there's two of me, it's just gonna be chaos. So I prefer someone who is probably a little bit on the shyer side because I am not shy. And someone who can like kind of be, I guess, attentive because I'm so energetic, outspoken. Sometimes I miss the details. So someone who's detail oriented, something like that. But they should be funny. But like funny doesn't mean to me like, oh, you crack a lot of jokes or whatever. It could just be just the way you walk. Oh, I mean, like, okay, that sounds really weird.
No, that's so true. That's so true. Because jokes is different than like.
Yeah, or like the way they flip
different
their
levels.
pen. You know, something small, the subtleties. I enjoy that.
So like if he's got like pen flicking skills, you're in.
Well, no, I don't like that was just an example. Like it's cool, but if you're just like on a date with me, all you do is flick your pen and look at me intensely, I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? Like,
nervous twitch.
But I do agree with Farah in saying that like it's like in terms of looks, right? It's really just at most 50%, because if you don't kind of stimulate me mentally, it's very hard to stimulate me any other way. Is that okay to say?
Perfect.
Like that.
Yeah. That was good. That was good.
Yeah, definitely. Like I'm 35 now, so I'm not looking for, just a date and whatever. Like I'm looking for longer term. So I want to know, like, looks are going to fade. Beer bellies are going to happen. So definitely you've got to know that you want to be with this person, that they stimulate you, make you laugh, make you, definitely are attentive. I don't know if like, I definitely want them to be like lower energy than me, because same thing, I run around in circles. So I need somebody to be like, okay, chill.
Exactly.
In a way without telling me to actually chill, because I don't.
That doesn't work either. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that kind of like when you're kind of like a dreamer and you need someone to like anchor you a little bit?
Yeah. I need an anchor for sure.
An anchor, okay.
Yeah.
So like how does a guy be an anchor? Like, what does that look like?
Goes back to being attentive, being, noticing when you need it, whether it be a hug or just for you to blow off steam, or just be like, sit down, dinner's fucking ready, you haven't eaten all day. Like basics kind of.
Yeah.
The excuse they would use to that is like, I can't read your mind, so how would you expect me to know that? And that irks me because like there are signs, like there are physical signs you can see on a person. So like,
Yeah, I wear all my emotions right out there. I am terrible at like, I can't hide shit. So like, you can read it on me.
I think giving a little credit to guys though, like I think there are signs, but then everybody's signs are different too. So like, cause I have two brothers myself. And so sometimes when I'm communicating with them, I'm just like, I thought that I put out the sign, but they're totally dense towards it. Like signs that I'm not happy or something like that. And they're totally dense about it. So it's just like, yeah, like we have our signs, but at the same time, it's so transparent to us, but it's not to another person, right? So it's just like, I guess that's the thing as well, finding a partner to kind of be at the same frequency as you. You can list all of these items down, like, oh, you should be, I don't know, you should be like funny, you should be attentive. But at the end of the day, if they're funny and attentive in a frequency that's not compatible with yours, it's still not going to work.
Right? Yeah. Well, you should vibe off each other for sure. Like you get, you get what you give too.
Yes, I really agree with that. Like, especially, I mean, like a little bit contextual, a little bit of a cultural type of snippet here. Now, I don't know if this applies to all Chinese people, and I don't vouch for all Chinese people when I talk about these things. Okay, I'm just putting it out there so I don't get canceled. But then it's just like, a lot of times in like Chinese relationships, it's kind of like in the most traditional sense, it's kind of expected that the guy pays for everything. And I think some of it is very similar with other people as well. The guy pays for everything, or like the guy does everything, the guy lifts everything. And in general, it's almost expected that in the most traditional Chinese relationship, the guy doesn't have emotions either. So it's kind of like, what is this, right? So I think like, to your point, Chrissy, it's just like, you give what you get, and it's like, you should love your man and like let him be emotional, because he's gonna do the same for you, right?
Yeah.
Two, what do you think?
Yeah, Mac, do you have a list?
I have a
Does
lot
anything
to
matter?
say.
I'm ready for this list.
I do have things, obviously. I mean, if I'm married, I had things I wanted in someone, clearly. So, my brain's going all over the place right now. I have like little things I want to comment on. I personally, a big thing for me would be just, I think the anchor is a good analogy, to be honest. I really like that. I think that's what a lot of women are looking for, is just somebody solid that you know that you can depend on, whether that be financially, if necessary, or emotionally, someone that's kind of going to be the baseline for you. So when you're going all crazy and you're getting a little neurotic, he can look at you and go, babe, it's okay. Let's talk about this. And somebody just be a constant presence. I know that's what works for me. There are times people compliment me online. They're like, you're not as crazy as other girls. I'm like, oh, listen, you don't live with me. I have my moments, but my husband is there to kind of be like, hey, let's just talk about this later, or let's just take a break for a while, whatever, and actually like be an anchor and calm me down like that. So I think that's an awesome analogy. And I think that honestly covers a lot. I will say, when it comes to the looks thing, I think looks matter a lot, to be honest. Not that personality doesn't matter, because obviously the anchor thing has a lot to do with personality. A dude could be very attractive physically, but you talk to him and he has no idea what he's doing. He doesn't seem dependable. He's like financially all over the place, has no idea what he's doing with his life. Obviously, there's attractive dudes like that. And then there's unattractive or less attractive dudes who are great at that kind of thing. So it might balance out, but I don't know. I just think most women are lying when they say they don't want somebody to be attractive. Like, to be
Honestly,
honest.
I think at the end of the day, it's so subjective.
Yeah,
Like
that's
you can
true.
find someone, yeah, you can find someone that isn't conventionally attractive.
True.
That even when you show your friends, they're like, ew. But you
They're like,
feel
"That guy?"
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's true.
Like
I
you feel
think
this like physical attraction.
maybe a better word instead of like attractive or unattractive would be like, do you feel desire for the person?
Yeah.
Because
It's like
that's
your-
not
it's like your-
something you can
Your
negotiate.
pheromones just come into play. It's just
Right.
it
Like
happens.
you just, it's like in the movies, like when something clicks, like that first, and like the music swirls around you, like desire, like you desire that person. I think for the most part, that goes for guys too. Like you want to desire the person you're with. Most people with relationships, they don't like mathematically plan it out. Like, well, are we compatible? It starts because you desire that person, they desire you, and then you kind of go from there when it comes to looks and everything like that. So
Is it in the stars?
yeah. So what else? I was gonna comment on something else. I can't remember what though. The looks thing, and then yeah, I think that covers everything I was gonna say.
Okay, so I'm hearing he's got to be decent looking, at least 50% of what makes him interesting. And more in the case of Mac. I mean, she's just being real. Does that, okay. So
I love my husband because he's sexy to me. I don't like, what is wrong with it?
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's perfect.
There's nothing, okay, but you know, I think Mackenzie or Mac touched on a few things. Like she talked about like having your life together, finances.
Yeah.
You know, and she was talking about like attractiveness, and I'm like, well, you know, a lot of the stuff being said in the manosphere is that men kind of get better later. You know, like I think it's like around 35, 40 that they're suggesting that men are kind
I
of.
only hope.
Honestly. So true.
I think it's also like it's not only about men getting better. It's also like I guess the women who look at 35-year-old men, they're also changing inherently. Like I think like for example, talking with my younger girlfriends, right? They're just like their expectations to me sometimes are a little unrealistic. And speaking with like someone older than me, I find that their
What did they say?
Sometimes.
What did they say?
Oh my god. Okay, so then like okay, so I have like this girlfriend. She's like 20. She just turned 20 yesterday, and like whenever she's like, so she likes older men. That's what she says. And when she says that, she means like someone who's at least 10 years older than her. But her expectations are just like, oh, you have to like me before I like you, and you have to show that you like me before I like you, and it's like a prerequisite for her, right? Like a very hard prerequisite. And then also like it's just in general like the values have to be aligned. I think how do you say this? It's kind of like more like of an expectation thing. I remember when I was 20 as well, right? Like I would have this very hard list of things I would look for. And then after a while, when I understand how humans actually work emotionally, then I get to like be a little bit more like, yeah, I have these basic things that I look for in a partner, but it's not everything now, right? It's like, it really matters. It really depends on case by case. So to that point, it's just like, I think 35-year-old men get better because you look at them a little differently too. Like there was this modern love article by New York Times I was reading. It was like published a few years back. And it's basically this girl, she got married, very happy relationship. And then like 20 years into their marriage, right? So at this point, they're like 45 or something like that. There was this one moment that she never would have thought that she would found sexy if she like looked at her husband like 20 years prior, which was a squirrel came into the house and just kept running around, and then all the husband did was throw a bowl onto the squirrel and capture the squirrel and then like let it free. And then the woman in the article was saying like that was the sexiest thing I've ever seen in my life. So it's just like that she found it sexy because even though at that point her husband had a beer belly, was like bowling a little bit, but she felt it was the sexiest thing. So it's just like, yeah, 35-year-old men get better, but it's also because how you look at them also change at that point in your life.
Perception changes definitely. As you age, Perspective just shifts over and over again.
It's so weird, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, I have a friend that actually just went on a date and she's so excited. She hasn't dated in like 3 years. So I actually was so proud of her for going on this date. But because we're all older. She's close to 40, and for her, it's like he's on his second life. He had kids young, real super young at 19. So like now they're grown up, right? So they can start a second life together. And he's already had kids. She doesn't want kids. It just works out. So, it's finding those things that, everybody gets, I want to say like a second chance, or like you've grown into yourself, or, accepted your life earlier, or whatever's happened to you, and, changed from it or grown from it to become hopefully a better person and more understanding to the life around you too, to be a better husband, or to be what we're looking for too.
Yeah. From my experience, like I'm in my 30s. Like financially, things got like dramatically better from like 25 to like 30. It was like I was so desperate at 25. I would do anything. I took like contract jobs. I'd do anything for experience. And like, you get a little older and it's like, okay, now I have experience. I can get these full-time positions. I can be picky. So I think like if a girl was looking for someone who was more like put together or whatever, probably like over 30, that's what we're talking about. Because like 20s, you're still finishing your degree and just getting like your first, yeah, you're just figuring it out. Yeah. And I think guys figure it out later than women. I just, it's kind of like a general thing.
I always joke that 30s are the 20s you can afford.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously.
Sounds like paradise to me. I also think it's also what you're looking for, right? Like, I think in your 20s, because a lot of people say that, okay, before you're 20, those years are for like kind of, you're just growing, you know what I'm saying? And then in your 20s to your 30s, you're still growing, but in a different way, where now you look at yourself and then you kind of decipher yourself what parts need working on, and then you work on yourself. And then after 30, it's like you're kind of this product a finished product, so to speak, where you can start marketing yourself confidently as who you are. So maybe that's like the magic of being 30, I guess. But also like when you're dating your 20s, I think it's different when you're dating than when you're dating your 30s as well, because in your 20s you're looking for like kind of like someone to like experience these turbulent times in your life with, and in your 30s, at that point, I think you're really looking for someone to spend the rest of your life with. So I mean, like, not saying that you can't spend the rest of your life with the person you've met in your 20s, but it's just like a different process. Like your relationship kind of changes over time as well. Yeah,
like it all goes back to the perspective you talked about. It's just different stages of life requiring different kinds of complementary partnership.
And if you're together and you're on the same frequency, then you can grow at the same rate, in like ways that will still make you compatible, even though at like the end of 2 decades, you're two completely different people than who you were from 2 decades ago. You're still compatible in a weird way because you're on the same frequency and you kind of grew in that way.
I think, sorry, Chrissy, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I think just coming from the perspective of like somebody who like dated in my teens, my 20s, and now, I mean, I'm 27, getting there, we're getting to the 30s soon. It has, one of the things I say is like, we have grown a lot together. And I think that's why a lot of people, especially women that I know, like my friends who are still single that are my age, like 27, they're getting ready to, or even turn 30. I have a cousin who just turned 31 and she's dating a guy, and, he's like, well, I don't know what I want to do. She's like, what do you mean? I'm 31, buddy. Let's go. You need to decide. Is this,
Yeah.
Well,
your list ready.
Right. Like, hello, you beat my list. Let's go. Like,
Yeah.
But I think a big thing is, especially I think in the modern day, people are scared, or at least a lot of people are scared to say that men and women are different. So like when you say, oh, guys are like in their 30s and like women kind of just have their fun in their 20s and all this stuff, and guys don't have it together, they get it together in their 30s, people are confused and like, well, what do you mean? Guys mature just as fast as women and all those different things. And it's like, well, women, women that are young, they're beautiful, that's like the stereotype, right? Oh, women in their teens and 20s, they're at the peak, they're beautiful. And guys are still kind of at that point, a lot of them are that awkward, like they haven't decided to hit the gym yet, like they don't really know who they are, they don't have their stuff together.
Filled out.
Then by the time, God, but seriously, like by the time they get in their 30s, they're like, all right, this is what I want to do. They're starting to like get their fitness together and all sorts of stuff, kind of like women start to do like when we get to our like mid or late 20s. But we're different and like that's fine. I've always found it so weird that like there's this like scared like aura around saying like Jolie was saying, oh, I have a friend in her 20s who like wants to date guys in her 30s. A lot of people would look at you and be like, that's so gross and creepy. And it's like,
yeah, true.
That is an adult.
True.
Like I was 20, I was 22. I wanted to get married then. Like, I don't think it's creepy. Like men and women are different. Guys have their stuff together in their 30s. If someone is an adult in her mid 20s, what am I not an adult? I'm 27.
Yeah.
I can't.
I've been attracted to guys in their 30s since I was, your age.
Well, right. But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's natural, in my opinion, to be more attracted to guys. Like, I think I'm kind of an outlier. Like, us obviously getting together 18, like, there's not like a lot of like, oh, high school sweethearts. Like, not like when my parents, a lot of people, especially now, like I said, even my parents were like, oh, wait till you graduate college. When you're 25, 26, then you can get married. So even they kind of bought into well, you need to wait till later and all this stuff. And like, that's fine. But I think it's normal, like, to be attracted, especially as women, I don't think there's any shame in it either. Like, when a woman's like, I want somebody to be financially stable, I'm not like, oh, you're a gold digger. That's hello. Especially if you're someone who wants to have a family, like, that's something that's important. Or even not have a family. Like, you don't want to be living paycheck to paycheck in your 30s. Like, that's not fun. Like,
yeah, no, I totally support what you're saying, Mac, because like, I think financial stability is very important because especially when you're trying to grow a family, right? You don't want your children to be living paycheck to paycheck. Right. Because that will impact the quality of their childhood, right? Like they're going to feel like the financial burden in the family. Like I feel like especially if you're looking to grow a family, well, within reasonable realm, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't expect to, like, I don't know. I think it's just like financial stability is important, but don't be a glutton and like go for like financial being like excessiveness, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a gold digger. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the thing.
I got a question. So this is a diverse group, different faiths, different colors and skins and all that. Would you guys like? Does race and religion come into play? Just facts, if you're willing to say. I don't know. Mac, I see you.
Go ahead, Mac.
I've gotten a lot of hate on I got kicked off Twitter. For context, I've been permanently banned from Twitter. I wasn't even saying anything that outrageous. I just, like, in the sweeps that they did where they banned a bunch of people, they took me down. I don't know why. I was at like 27K. They were like, sorry, bye.
Oh shit.
So when sorry, they just yeeted me off the platform. I don't know if people still say that, but that's what they did. I got a lot of flack on Twitter once because I said, and maybe it's just because I'm white, I don't know, but I said my husband's white, like I'm attracted to white guys. And they said, well, people said all sorts of things, especially like they call me racist, all this stuff. And I'm like, why can't people just be attracted to who they're attracted to? You don't have to make it deep and like some insidious, like, oh, why don't you like that sort of thing? No, nobody does that for hair color or like any other attribute on a human being. Except that when you say, oh, I prefer this person. And it's same like if you're like cross race, like I have a friend who they're both half white, half Asian, and they're dating each other. So they're both half white, half Asian. But what she got a lot of flack because they're like, why don't you just date an Asian man and like embrace your culture and all this stuff? And like got a lot of flack for it. And I don't know why it's such a heated topic.
So silly.
It is like
So
just
silly.
people have
Because of the
preferences.
native
That's
community a
cool.
lot too.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. And I don't think it should be crazy. Like people are attracted to who they're attracted to. It's just a preference. Just like hair color or height or
You
anything
can control
else.
it.
I always say it's my vagina making the decision, not me.
I can't control that. Excuse me.
Breathe. Oh, I love crazy. I can't.
Okay, so I take it. Have you ever dated like I don't know other races and stuff? Yeah, cool. Okay. Mac, do they need to be Christian or like would you date a Buddhist?
I personally, so my parents didn't grow up Christian. So like I said, we're not like, I didn't grow up in like a super strict like Christian house. My parents kind of let us make our own decisions about that kind of stuff. We ended up Christian because my parents were like, oh, the private school's a good school. And then to get us into the private school, they had to start going to church basically. And now we're Christian. And my brother's a pastor. So like it worked, like we're both Christian. And I actually studied world religions in college, so like I enjoy the topic and things like that. But for me personally, yeah, I mean my husband's the same kind of Christian that I am. He has a little bit different of attitude about like church as like a thing and all that, but we're both Christian. Like we have the same fundamental beliefs, and I personally think that's really important, whether it be with religion or other things. If you don't align with, especially if you're going to have kids, I would say maybe it's different. If you don't want to have kids, like you want to date somebody who has completely different worldviews just to like, feel things out, cool. But like for me, us wanting to have a family, I need to know that from everything from like, what do you think about spanking? What do you think about this? Like, it's important to have the same values and know exactly how you want to raise your kids. So Christianity was definitely important for me personally, just because it's my religion.
I'm a free thinker, so I don't have a religion. I don't really mind my partner being religious, but then like they should be prepared to like, because I'm a free thinker. I'm interested in religion, but I'm not like I don't believe in a certain faith, right? So it's like for example, if my partner's a Christian, for example, then like they'd have to be prepared for those philosophical deep talks where I'm just like, oh, how could all-loving God exist if suffering exists as well? Like something like that. Like just not because I'm challenging them, but because I'm curious, right? So I don't really mind if they have their own religion, but then like in terms of ethnicity-wise, I do feel like East Asians have more similar like cultural foundations. So I feel like in terms of just feeling more intimate with that person, it's easier for me if they're just the same, like East Asians, because like I feel like Koreans, Japanese, and Chinese people, like at the very base of it, it's very similar in terms of their cultural beliefs and stuff like that. So that's why I think it's easier to relate sometimes like that. But anyways, also adding on to this is like, I think, especially when raising a family, right? Like, I think it could be good both ways. Like, if your partner is religious and you're not, then your children can have that choice to choose and also grow up in an environment where being different is okay, like, and be more tolerant toward other people's religions, other people's differences. I think it's just how you deliver that message. And likewise, if both of the parents are religious, that's fine. Like, they can choose their own thing. At the end of the day, it's just how you deliver it to your children. But if you already have a set way you want to raise your children, like Mac does, and go ahead. Everybody raise their kids as differently as they cook their eggs. So.
Yeah, I can see that. And I mean, like I said, I have one brother, and our parents, neither of them grew up. They grew up like vaguely Christian, kind of like just, well, I'm American, so yeah, I believe in Jesus, like that kind of thing. Yeah. But they never like went to church or like did anything like that. So for us, it was just kind of like they weren't like forcing us to go to Sunday school or anything. It wasn't like super strict. It was just kind of something that they were like, okay, make up your mind, whatever. And now my brother and I are just the kind of people that would definitely want to raise our kids in it. So it's weird because I grew up in a household where it was kind of just like kind of free and whatever. And I mean, I don't plan to like sit my kids down and like hit their hands with a ruler if they say they don't love Jesus. Like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna be that strict.
Does
but
anybody do that? I don't like.
Oh, if the context is not there, I'm referring to like the nuns in the Catholic schools that like hit the kids with the ruler. Which I didn't go to Catholic school. I'm actually Lutheran. I'm not Catholic, but I'm Catholic light, whatever. The Catholics don't like me because we got the heck out of there.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's history there. But so that's what I was talking about. But, yeah. So I definitely get where Julie's coming from. Like wanting, I think there's a good balance when it comes to relationships, raising kids, everything. There's a balance between like being open-minded about things and knowing what you want. You know what I mean? Like not being too wishy-washy, but having like fundamentals that you know for sure, which people who aren't religious can have. You obviously have like things you want. Just because you're not religious doesn't mean you don't have standards and like things you want to teach your kids, right? So there's a balance, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, right? Like I would prefer someone who is Muslim, most likely, just because having that kind of foundation of the same beliefs, the same, teachings, having kind of that teaching from a young age, we're kind of instilled with that, and so we're kind of on the same frequency from the start. Of course, there will have to be communication in order to solve out the nuances, like spanking your kids and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, the values mirror each other so well that I think it just makes for a lot of compatibility and just easiness in the relationship. Like that's in any belief system, not just Islam or Christianity, right? Like that's really just any belief system that you've grown up with and that's been like instilled in you.
And
Okay.
also to match the same level too, because it's like
how
how
there's
hard you
different
are
levels.
into that belief, or that specific,
Yeah, like team no music. Like that's.
Yeah, exactly. They definitely
I
have
would
to get
never.
you to hum.
I know. It's too much. It's just too much. Okay, does he have to be Arab, Farah?
Look, I don't make my decisions. No, like
And then there's parental issues where it's like you get such forced on too by your parents and your grandparents and like expectations of this person as well, that sometimes depending on how religious you are, you have to either really fight for that if you want it or give in.
Exactly.
Okay.
No, I don't think I would want him to be Arab. I think I'd be fine if he was just Muslim at most.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that this is a good point to try to watch a clip. You guys down for that?
I don't think we're gonna finish it.
Okay.
I cannot hear anything.
Gottlieb, help us here. Lori is here. She is the author of Marry Him, making the case for settling for Mr. Good Enough. Lori, look, feel my pain for a second. There are a lot of lonely men out here who are good guys. But women and this list, it's maddening. Make the argument at the center of your book, please.
Okay, I'm not telling anybody to settle for somebody that they're not totally in love with or physically attracted to or anything like that. The book is based on a survey where men and women were asked if they got 80% of everything they want in their ideal mate, would they be happy with that? And women said, no, that's settling. And men said, 80%, I'd be thrilled, that's a catch. And so
80% of the women you surveyed is settling?
That's settling because, the question is, what actually makes us happy in long-term romantic love? And, that's the question that I explore in the book. And I'm a journalist, so I went out and I asked neurobiologists about chemistry, and I asked behavioral economists about demographics, and I asked marital researchers and divorce lawyers.
What do they say?
And, the thing is, we're too picky about the things that don't matter at all for long-term romantic happiness, but we're not picky enough about the things that actually do matter.
Okay, so break that out for me. What are women? It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple with men. Come on. What are women too picky about here?
Well, I'll tell you, men and women were asked what would be a deal breaker for going on a second date. And men named 3 things. They said she has to be cute enough. She doesn't have to look like Angelina Jolie. She just has to be cute enough. She has to be warm and kind. And she has to be interesting to talk to. Those seem like really valid criteria.
Ding, 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 ding. Pretty simple.
Right. Okay, reasonable, right? The women came back with 300 things that would rule out a guy for a second date. And we're talking about like another 2 hours and maybe a free dinner. And they wouldn't do it. And there were things like he wore a brown belt with black shoes. Or we were having a really good time and I thought he was cute and he was interesting, but then he did this Austin Powers impression and I just can't get that out of my mind and I can't go out with him again.
Okay, here you go.
And
All right.
Oh no, Austin
First of
Powers.
all, I would love the Austin Powers impression.
Oh no. Who are these women? Who are these women?
300 things? It's like they have a job.
I would be very interested in the women that she surveyed to know the ages of the women that she surveyed. Because I guarantee you the women she surveyed, I would bet a decent amount of money they are all under 25. All
Yeah, that checks out.
No offense, Farah.
Oh no, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. No, because really at the age I'm in, up till 25, I feel like we're not exposed to that many people, right? Until you kind of start progressing in life, you see like a larger pool of people and you start to understand, like you start to formulate your ideals based on that, right? Because you can't formulate your ideals and then, it doesn't match anybody's, so.
You don't know what you don't know till you know it's out there.
I also just feel like when you're younger, a lot of women are just like, you want to have fun, and you're like, I got time. And then people are like, oh, that boyfriend was really nice. Like, why'd you break up with him? And you're like, I got time. It's fine. I'll find a better one. Like, they talked about settling in that video. Like, I've read so many articles written by people in, like, New York Times, all sorts of things, of, like, there was this one that this lady was married, and she divorced her husband of 20 years at, like, I think late 30s, early 40s, maybe. And then she was writing about what a mistake it was because she thought she could find better. Like, what are you doing? Like, how are you, like, okay, if it was like a serious situation, understandable. But she said, no, I just thought I could find better. Like, she had kids with the man, like, they'd been married for 20 years. And she was like, I can do better. Like, that's insane to me. That's just insane.
I mean, Sharif might be able to speak more to this because he studied neuroscience. But then I'm just thinking, like, I think this is just totally a hypothesis on my point. But then, like, I'm thinking, could it also be because younger women especially, they tend to be a little bit more insecure. So what I've observed, like, in my younger girlfriends, is that the more insecure they are, the more that they outwardly rebound, like, into almost like a sense of inflated ego, or that's what it looks like because they're so insecure, they're trying to rebound, like to show off that their ego is super inflated. And in doing so, they have a lot of unrealistic expectations of the people around them. So I think maybe, just maybe, it could be because the more insecure you are, the more you need to validate yourself with your partner. And that's why you look for all these unrealistic things. I mean, it's just a wild jab, don't cancel me, but I'm just like,
no, that's really interesting.
No.
I
think you're getting at something.
With the big push off from a lot of religions you marry for life. That's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is no such thing as divorce. So with a push off from a lot of people not having those fundamentals anymore, and we can get a divorce. Where's the repercussions in that? We're not getting along this year. I remember my grandma saying there's years she hated my grandfather, but then they fell in love again. They had kids. You argue for a couple of years, you figure shit out and you keep through it. But, there's not that commitment anymore that you have to stay together. So I think that really can affect us when we're trying to find people young and just in this day of age, like dating now, there is no assurity of an end game together.
I think it's also because, like, the idea of a commitment is very different nowadays. Like, if I don't like this shirt, I throw it out, I buy a new one. Or
Yeah.
like, if I don't like this bag, it's okay. I have a lot of choices.
Commitment
And so the
5 years.
yeah, like oh my
life
God, I'm so committed to my job. I've done it for like 2 years now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think what a lot of younger folks, they need to, and also it's also like our like it's also kind of like bleeding down in the generations. Divorce rates increased over the years as well, right? And it could be it could be an enabler to a lot of people that are in very unhealthy relationships, right? So I'm not debating.
Oh no, I'm not
divorcing.
putting that down at all.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, the idea of commitment is so different that people sometimes they feel like if it's not perfect, then it's not worth working on.
Yeah,
like
it's a give up situation.
yeah, and then like this actually reminds me of this YouTube video that I watched once upon a time. It's basically like you've got a deck of cards, and every card in this deck represents a potential partner, and you flip one out, and that represents your current partner, right? And that, for example, it might be like a 5 of spades or whatever, right? And then every single encounter you have with someone potential is like a card facing down. So now you have to make the call. Should I stay committed to my 5 of spades for this, or should I like explore this opportunity with this unknown card? Of course, like, you know, you
gambling.
yeah, you know what I'm saying.
I was
So
gonna say.
it is a gamble, like choosing a partner. But at the end of the day, you have to, like, first of all, in a relationship, you have to be happy with yourself before you can be happy with your partner. I think,
100%.
yeah. So a lot of times when you're trying to find fault in your partner, it's just because you don't feel comfortable with your own skin. So that's why I just, at the end of the day, it's just like, you stay the most committed and happiest when you are happiest and most committed to yourself. And you have to realize that some days you don't like yourself, and some years you don't like yourself. So why would you expect to love and like this other individual all the time in your whole life? It's unrealistic. And just being, you know, giving yourself that reality check and just really letting yourself love another person, I think that's the key to a long-term relationship.
I got 2 points. So one point is that the number of people getting married is definitely decreasing every year. I just read that stat like yesterday. And another thing, like to Jolie's point about like being insecure and stuff, maybe that is more related to like this concept of hypergamy, which is kind of like this thing from the manosphere that's floating around. And it's just this idea that women are looking for like the best possible mate, essentially. And even like some of these gurus will be like, you know, girls can't really articulate what they're into. That's not me. That's what they say. So like they're just attracted to what they're attracted to. And that's why like other guys need to tell other guys like what the real deal is. So.
To be honest, like going back to like, I know you said at the beginning, well, like we're doing this because like women should like maybe help out like the guys that like aren't sure. Yeah. Honestly, I kind of disagree. Like it's not that women don't know what they want. I think obviously we all just described stability and anchor, all these things. But then when we got to talking about attractiveness and like what makes us desire someone, we talked about, oh, well, that's, you know, subjective. Like it's different for everybody, all that kind of thing. So I think that the reason why, and I tell my male friends that are single, well, first of all, I tell them to be careful because it's crazy out there. But I tell my female friends that too, but it's I mean, look, that 80%, that's not good. That's crazy.
That's
like,
amazing.
What are you talking about? Like I've literally said, and people get mad. Most guys, they just want a woman to be in the shape they prefer, whether that be skinny, a little thicker, whatever, and be nice. Don't be mean to them.
Yeah.
Like that's literally, they just want someone to just not be mean to them and like look down on them like, what are you? And just be like the level of attractiveness that they want, whatever that is. That's all they want. It's not even, most guys they don't even care if you can't cook anymore. Most guys, they're just like, whatever. Well, I just want someone to be nice to me that like I'm going to be able to get along with. That's it. And I feel like that's such a low bar. Like all those things we just talked about feels like such a high bar compared to that. It's like men are not okay. Like what's happening? Like it's okay to have standards as a dude, but the reason I'm getting to all this is it's like, I think if I was approaching a dude, just hypothetically, and I was telling him how I think he should act, and he said, okay, and did everything that I said, that would be a turnoff for me. Because I don't want to, we kind of talked about at the beginning, the communication thing, like knowing how we feel and things like that. Like you should just know. I think women want men to have that intuition. So that's why I think like ultimately having panels and like that lady being interviewed by CNN saying, well, men, this is what women want. This is what we want. No woman wants a man to ask you what they want though. Like it's an inherent, like we all are just like, just get it. The manosphere that you're talking about, they refer to it as like the just get it principle. Like, well, why don't you just get it? It's because that's just how women are. Men and women are different. I think most women just want a man to some extent, varies by personality. I know there's a lot of strong personalities in here, myself included. Like you just want someone who just knows what to do, who knows how to be supportive and all that stuff. You don't want somebody that's going to listen to every little thing you say, and you just want them to be able to get it and know what to do and how to be supportive of you. So
Don't want a puppy dog.
right. You don't want, we see women all the time. Oh, I don't want a child. I want a man. Constantly. That's like the big, everybody said it at some point in their life. Oh, they're like a little kid. I don't want them, doing all this. Because you want somebody who you can look up to and who you're going to be able to depend on. You don't want somebody who's like, babe, I don't know. What do I do? What do I do in this situation? Look at this thing, this problem. How
we can be kids and geek out and go to Comic-Con, but
hey, don't be smacking Comic-Con. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I love Comic-Con. I'm looking.
Are you?
Okay.
I love that.
No, those are my husbands. What are you talking about? Those are cool. This is
I've been doing Comic-Con for years. I love it.
I get what you're saying though. Like there's this stereotype, like nobody wants that. I think men kind of like to have someone that depends on them because they feel needed and wanted. And so I think personally, like to fix a lot of this, we just need to get back to like, it's okay. You can be a quote unquote strong woman and have a strong personality, but depend on the partner that you're with and view them as like a dependable, strong person. Like that doesn't make you less of a woman to like depend on somebody, especially when it comes to like a romantic relationship. Like it's not like it's you getting money from some, I don't know from where. Like it's a person you are romantically involved with and hopefully love. There's nothing wrong with that. So I've never really understood. People ask me, and I tell people all the time, I'm like, listen, I haven't dated since I was 18, 19. Okay. I'm 27. Thank God, because we were talking about all this and I'm like, oh no, I'm so glad I don't have to deal with any of this. This is crazy. And my husband's the same way. He's like, I don't know, man. I'm just glad I got one. It's good. Like, we're good. It's fine. We don't have to deal with the craziness. I just think we need to get back to like, it's okay for both sexes to have expectations. And if you don't meet that person's expectations, whether you're the dude or the woman who doesn't meet those expectations, it's fine. Just move on. Find someone who has the expectations that you fit. That's all.
Like, I don't know about the 300 things that these girls were listing, but I think a normal, healthy girl that you might want to consider for a long-term relationship for will not be one of those people that list down 300 things to trick you into not getting a second date with you. That doesn't sound healthy. That doesn't sound normal. You probably don't want to be associating yourself with those type of girls anyways, because they've obviously got like a checklist that they use to evaluate people with. And how are you going to date them day to day and to fulfill that list?
It sounds like a mean girl.
It sounds difficult, and that's the last thing you want in a relationship. You want things to work. You want to work on things together. You don't want to just be constantly trying to fulfill another person's checklist. Right. So.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
So any last thoughts on this thing? Closing statements. Let's have one closing statement from each of you on what women want.
Just be real. Go out for a coffee. Get to know each other. Either you connect or you don't. Period.
Jolie?
Let me try to summarize this in like a sexy way. Being expressive is sexy.
Okay.
So speak your mind and let's like talk with your lady, you know?
Okay. Mac?
I think the biggest takeaway, or just for me personally speaking, is men and women are different, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. And if you're a guy who is like sincerely, like you really want a relationship, because I know a lot of guys out here, they're down bad. Like they just want companionship. Like they feel that like a woman is what's missing from their life. Stop it, get some help. Like focus on yourself, like sincerely, like focus on yourself, because I sincerely, I don't think any woman wants to be with a man who at least presents himself like he doesn't have his stuff together, whether that be financially, whatever. Like that's been like the common theme throughout, I feel like, our entire conversation. So just focus on you. And I honestly think like the women will come to you. Like good women, if you're focusing on yourself, you're doing what you need to do, like they will come to you. And I feel like chasing women is like not attractive. And I feel like if you're focusing on yourself and building yourself, your personality, your character, and trying to be a good man, good things will happen.
But don't be afraid to approach a woman if you want her.
True. Yes. Be
Paper,
confident.
But
When you do, be
yourself.
confident. Don't be clingy. Don't be desperate. But when you confidently express what you want, just walk up to her and say, "Listen, let's do this." Like,
Nice ass.
So honestly, I think the most important thing is transparency and just being honest. I think you guys really hit that on the nail, like being honest and also being logical. Because I feel like sometimes we can get so swept away with feelings that we kind of forget to actually look at the person as a person and not, like a lover or something else, right? So I think being logical and just kind of having that desire at the same time, and being transparent, because like at the end of the day, you don't want to hide something and then find out that it's not compatible. You just want to be like transparent and honest from the start. So I think that's all.
All right. Okay. So that was it. Thank you, anybody on the other end who watched this and checked it out. If you thought we didn't cover something, or you think there's something we missed, or you just have a comment, please leave a comment below. And that's it. Take care.
I have like one more thing I kind of want to say.
Okay.
Okay, so I just like yesterday it's kind of like every day is like your first date with somebody is kind of like a job interview. And I know it seems almost like the lady has the authority to kind of like hire you for this position or not hire you for the position, but just like it is in a real life job interview, just as much as they're gauging to see whether or not you're compatible with them, you are also gauging to see if you're compatible with them. So it's perfectly fine to be on one date with someone and not want them after that. So I think like sometimes it's good to remind guys that they also have that authority in the dating scene.
Yeah, facts. To be honest, we only covered like 1/3 of like what I wanted to cover. So
make this a weekly thing. I don't know.
It's a series now.